Hello everybody. It's Relaxing Sounds 92 here. And today it's gonna be a little bit of an update ramble about my life. Because it's been feeling like a roller coaster for quite a while now. And I will be brushing my hair because it's super long. I haven't been to the hairdresser since March 2020, so it's been a while. And I don't know if I'm gonna keep it long or if I'm gonna do something drastically different with it sometime soon. So I thought I could make use of my hair for now. I washed it this morning. I didn't brush it after because my hair is very prone to breakage, so I don't brush it anymore when it's still wet, so it's pretty much dry now. Okay, it's not completely dry, but that's not a big problem, I think. I have two brushes that you've seen before, both. I've had this one for quite a while. It's both like plastic bristles and hairs. This is just completely plastic. So I have a pretty big life update again, and it's a long story, so I'm going to be telling it for a while to have something to talk about. And for those who just want to know what's going on and also fall asleep and not pay attention, I'm gonna spoil the ending right away. We're moving again, and we're moving the farthest I have ever moved. We're going to Austria, so we're emigrating. That's not yeah, I must say I'm pretty overwhelmed by everything. Yeah, so like I said, it is a long story, so I'm gonna start at the beginning, which is actually all the way in 2013. My husband, then still just boyfriend, finished his master's degree, and he really wanted to do a PhD. He really found his calling in research, and he found a subject that he was very passionate about, and he did a second master research project in that, his big master thesis, which also got a publication, and he went to a big congress to talk about it. Congress? It sounds like something to do with the political system in America. I don't know, is that also the word in English? It's what it's in Dutch. Like just a big happening where people present posters and presentations and all that stuff. But 2013 was a bad time for fundamental research in behavioral biology. I remember the big crisis, in 2008, 2009, and in 2013 funding for research in the Netherlands was at an all-time low. That was really the time where all the funding projects had run out, and he just could not, for the life of him, could get research funded. So he had to go on a big journey. Basically, he had to first accept that he couldn't do what he wanted to do, which was just a process that took time. And then he had to figure out what else to do instead. That also took time, and it took a couple tries. And he didn't get it right completely. He tried two things that like were nice experiences, but didn't end up working out. And all this time we had money problems, which always stressed me out because I'm not great at dealing with uncertainties and unknowns. So it was a tough time. And eventually he decided he would go into IT because that's an area where you can where you have pretty good job security. You can also make a nice amount of money, which is useful if you have lots of student loans, like we do. So we ended up doing an IT traineeship, and most of that traineeship was like being basically employed, so learning in practice, and it was at a bank, and banks don't really align with our ideals of sustainability and that kind of stuff. So he did enjoy IT. He had also worked on some computer programs just for his methods during his research. But just a goal in itself, you really like IT is okay if you like the product that you're working on. So he finished that traineeship at the end of last year, and I actually found out that an organization, a nature type organization that I really enjoy, had a vacancy for something that he had lots of experience in. So he started working there. And even though in theory it would be like a pretty good fit, in practice he was just didn't completely feel right. I mean, Corona was still going on, so that obviously was not ideal. And all that time he was still receiving a newsletter about research vacancies, positions in the field of behavioral biology. And one day he saw a vacancy come in at the research group he was most interested in. He had actually contacted the professor of the institute in 2013 or 14, when he was actively pursuing PhD spots and all kinds of career opportunities in the scientific field. And at the time there was no place for him because there was no funding. But now, funding was already provided, and there was a vacancy for a funded project that they just needed filling. So he applied, and through a process that took quite a bit more time than I enjoyed, because the deadline was 15th or 16th of March or something, and we only heard it last week, the first week of June. He got a position, and he actually got the position because of the fact that he had that IT experience from his traineeship. That was like one of the reasons that he stood out compared to other applicants. So in that sense it was a real logical like a natural progression kind of thing. Only thing is that we thought that research and the world of science was no longer an option, and we bought a house not even 2 years ago, and we moved in here, and I was happy till we finally had a place to stay, because we had moved and rented a couple places, and we had moved quite a while, too often, more often than I liked. Jeez, words are difficult. So I've had a little bit of a tough time adjusting to the idea that we're actually moving to another country, and luckily it's within EU borders, so it's a little easier than I would imagine going outside of the EU, but oh my goodness, I'm still overwhelmed at how much we have to figure out and, just basically take care of. And culturally, Austria is different from the Netherlands. Sometimes there is no one European thing or feeling or style or whatever. Every country is different, and even within country you have regions where things can feel very different. So it is a pretty big deal. And at first, I have to admit, my knee-jerk reaction was just, no, we're not gonna do this. I was angry at, like the world or something, that just as we had decided to settle down, that I thought things were gonna be calm and stable for a while, and then he gets hit with the opportunity of getting his dream job. I had so many mixed feelings. I had watched him let go of his dream over the course of multiple years, and I thought at times it was heartbreaking because he was so passionate, he was so good at it, and I feel like I had no idea what to do with my life, and he knew, and then he didn't get to do it, and it was horrible to see, and I wished more than anything that he could do what he wanted to do, and I had been prepared to follow him for so long, but we decided to buy a house that felt more permanent than all the other times before, Just the timing of this plan was, I feel like, almost ironically horrible. The day I decided I was gonna call in sick 100% from work is the day that the email came in, and moving to another country was seriously on the table. And I honestly had quite a tough time with that. So it took me a while to get used to the idea. Yeah, so we are moving to Vienna. I have heard many good things about it. If anybody has experience with the city, I would love to hear it. We have to find a home. We have to somehow move our cats there, who already basically die when they go in a car for 5 minutes. So I have to talk to my vet about that, and there are like a million things like that, and it's pretty overwhelming at times. I must say that I'm very happy that the decision is finally made, because like the limbo we were in to me was unbearable. I had burnout, I was like gonna be unemployed soon, and I had no idea if I would have to look for a job in the Netherlands or in Austria. There were just so many uncertainties going on at the same time, right at the moment where I needed to feel safe to be able to recover from like my burnout. It was basic. I've had a tough couple months and even though I haven't been working at all since the end of February, and it's June now, so that's such a long time, I don't feel like I've had any rest or calm or anything at all. Because first there was the whole Vienna situation, and then he applied and we heard nothing for 2 months. Just total silence for 2 months, almost 2 months. So after a while we just kind of thought it wasn't gonna happen anymore or something. So right when the idea of Vienna started to die down, I got the news that I was going to be unemployed, and that just caused a whole new wave of stress and uncertainty and horribleness. And right when I started to like get over that and get used to the idea of not working at the place where I worked for 3 years and like having to find a new job somehow while still being like sick with burnout, that's when he got invited to his first interview. And because Vienna, the idea of Vienna had died down a little bit, I just basically experienced the whole process of no, I don't want to go all over again. So yeah, I feel like our life is a roller coaster that just never ends. But this opportunity, we just couldn't let it pass by. Not too long before the email with the positions arrived in his email, I actually read an interview with his professor from his second master thesis, and in the little about section of this professor there was a collaboration mentioned with another professor at another university, and how that was still, when that started and what they did together. And that was my husband was the reason that those two professors went to work together, and that collaboration was still ongoing, and he did not get to be a part of it anymore. He initiated it, and then there was no money and he had to go away, and everything was still going on. And I read that and it made me so angry at the unfairness of the world, and how my husband had been denied to do what he was good at and what he loved. And I actually cried reading that. I thought it was, just the whole thing of seeing your loved one having to let go of their dream is just, it's really gut-wrenching. And it took literal years of him having to figure out what else to do in life then. And the way this came together now with the fact that thanks to the IT traineeship that he ended up doing, that's the reason he stood out and got the job. That's just, that's kind of felt like this was the way it was supposed to be. I don't believe in fate, but I don't know, it's comforting to me if we had like lots of hardships to endure, and somehow it works out in a way you had not thought about before, then it's just comforting to think about, well, we got something out of it. Apparently this was the way it had to go, or something. So my husband will be 31 at the start of his PhD, and it's going to be 4 years. So he's pretty old. All those poor, just master students, graduated students did not stand a chance against him. I feel a little bad. Also means our income is being severely cut. I do not have a new job yet. I do have a few things I hope will pan out somehow. So, but yeah, no, it's pretty big. So, that's life right now. We're going to be moving in September. We do not have a house yet. We're going to try to rent out our house here. That will be a little tricky because technically we're not allowed to do that with our mortgage. So we have to gonna go through some process, but really don't want to sell our house because it's a good investment. But also, like, if he cannot continue working in Vienna and we have to return to the Netherlands after his PhD finishes, it's really great if you have a home to come back to. So, but yeah, gonna have to move all our furniture over there. It's gonna be costing a lot of our savings. This is a big investment, but also I like the idea of being there. The coming months are gonna be stressful for me, but I can imagine like enjoying a new place to live, and you know, they say that living abroad really broadens your perspectives. So up to a new adventure and new experiences, I guess. So I'll keep you updated. I have no idea what kind of apartment I'm going to be living in a couple months, and if it's going to be any good for filming. Suffice to say, I'm going to be away again for a while. I hope to film 1 or 2 videos still in here, but I'm not gonna promise anything because life is weird and scary sometimes, but hopefully also exciting in a good way. So thank you for listening to my ramble. You're all up to date now. Hope you're relaxing or asleep. And next video I will be making some more noises again.